Okay, hello everyone. I am just going to play some Call of Duty in the background. I won't be playing while I'm talking, but it's just some old footage I have. Just something that you can look at while I discuss this topic, because it can be kind of dry if it's just me looking at you, telling you about things. So you have something to, I guess, divert half of your attention. But the topic of this video will, of course, be about sponsorships and just getting free stuff, because that's essentially what it is. But it's not... I don't want you to mistake that for just charity, because they're giving you products to review. They expect you to promote the product in some way, or showcase it in some way, or use it in some way that benefits the company as well as your channel. And I didn't start receiving free items from companies until I hit about 30,000 or 40,000 subscribers. That was when I really started seeing a bunch of mainly companies from China trying to reach out and send things like charging packs. What's the other thing? Oh, Bluetooth speakers. I still get a ton of emails from companies wanting to send Bluetooth speakers. Those kinds of things. I did one of them. That was it. I just wanted to do one, get it out of the way. I think that's kind of something that every tech tuber has to go through, that whole Bluetooth speaker stage. But I got that out of the way around 30 or 40,000 subs. And then from then on out, I just every now and then just started getting these random, fairly well-known companies reaching out across the board, just wanting to either let me know that they could send stuff to the channel for me to review, or that they wanted a separate video on a certain product they were releasing. But AMD Radeon reached out to me and sent an RX 480. If you've been around for a while, you know about that. But they sent one to me as a review sample long before the RX 480 was actually released, so that I had plenty of time to run my tests and everything. To be quite honest with you, I didn't actually run any of my RX 480 tests until like the week before, so it was just kind of sitting around and I hadn't done anything with it. So I was teasing it a lot and getting everybody pumped up for it, but I didn't actually run any tests until I think the week prior. So even I didn't know how powerful the card actually was, I wasn't disappointed with the card. I mean, it's a great card, and I think that it's probably one of the best price to performance cards currently on the market. But with that said, I think that sponsorship was the most noteworthy. I think that was a big milestone for Science Studio, because that was the first time that a company as big as AMD had ever reached out to my channel, which at the time wasn't very big. I think I had 50,000 subs by that time. Now, in terms of how you go about getting these sponsorships, you can do it one of two ways. You can either promote similar products and expect other companies to want to compete with that product. Keyboards, for example. I have tons of people now wanting to send me gaming keyboards, mechanical keyboards, for the simple reason that I've already reviewed like 3 of them in the past month. And so others are saying, hey, look at our keyboard, it's cheaper, or it has this feature that this keyboard didn't, that you reviewed earlier. So that's one way I would say that you can try to kind of rally some sponsors behind your channel, or at least companies that would be willing to contribute products that you can review and use and do whatever with, do giveaways, things like that. I don't recommend trying to sell products that you've been given for free. I think that's just kind of shady. I don't condone that. I'm not going to do that myself. When I sell computers that I build, I'll sell them on Craigslist. Usually what I'll do is I'll give them a pretty sharp discount, and I'll say, hey, look, a lot of these parts were just given to me for free, so that's why you're going to get it for a good price. The only parts I'm charging you for are the parts that I paid for, and I'm just, because I built it, a couple weeks ago, I'm just going to charge you at face value what it cost me to build. I don't usually charge for labor or anything like that. And I sell a lot of computers. That's where a lot of my old parts go, actually. I sell them on Craigslist and things of that sort. We were really nobody in the face of other channels that have 200, 300,000 subs. We're actually coming up on that, actually. That's really crazy that we're almost to that point now. But back then, I think it was a little before the summer started here in the Northern Hemisphere, I was around 30 or 40,000 subs, and we were growing fairly fast, but we didn't have enough, in my opinion, to justify a company as big as AMD sending a card to the studio to review before it had even been released. So it wasn't even just like it was a free card to review. It was a pre-release card that I could test myself and formulate conclusions on before anybody else could buy one just straight up on the market. So that's the first way you can pick up company sponsorship. Start off with something like a mechanical keyboard, compare it to another mechanical keyboard later on, and then you'll slowly start to see those other companies who produce the same kinds of mechanical keyboards want to compete with you. Now, you're only going to be stuck in the mechanical keyboard department, so what you'll have to do, if you plan on sticking with that, course of action, is purchase something like I don't know, purchase an Asus RX 480 and just kind of hope for the best. Review that card, run the benchmarks, make the video look as professional as possible, because these are like your interviews. You're basically interviewing with all of these companies that have to do with the topic at hand in every video that you upload, because I mean, as long as the video is good and people receive it well, they're going to end up sharing it with their friends. Eventually, word will get out that, hey, this new channel is reviewing these cards and he's doing a great job. This company might hear about you and say, hey, well, we want to send our product to you and have you do the same thing because we thought you were professional in your video. Now, the second way to obtain free products, company sponsorships, review products, things of that sort, would be for you to go out and ask for those products specifically by either going to the website and emailing the marketing department, whatever, however you want to do it. If you have contacts, phone numbers, try all of those methods. I will say, in my personal experience, I don't have as much success in that realm, just because I know when I email a marketing department, if it's like, let's say NZXT, if I email NZXT's marketing department, I think it's marketing@nzxt.com. Don't quote me on that, but you get the point. That's just their umbrella marketing email. So when you send that email to their marketing department, it's going to get sifted through by a bunch of different servers, and someone's going to land on that email, they'll skim it, and they'll say, throw it to the side. Or maybe they'll forward it to the head of the marketing department or something like that. That would be a good case, but most of the time they're just going to be sifted through and then sorted and then probably trashed. And that's just the nature of big companies. They don't have time to focus on the little guys, really. And that's still what I am. I'm a little guy right now. So until I would say until you get to around 100, maybe 200,000 subs, going out to companies and asking them for products, most of the time you're going to hear the words, sorry, not right now, maybe some other time. That's usually what I hear. So, and NZXT, by the way, has told me that. They told me that back when I had 40 or 50,000 subs. But I haven't tried since then. I don't know. Maybe I will try. NZXT makes good products. So that's the second way to do it. It's not always going to end with a yes. In fact, most of the time it's going to end up with a no. But there are other companies that I have been successful in that case with. I will say I've had about an 80% failure rate with that option. Even at this point, I mean, I can ask some bigger companies and I'll most likely get a no. And that's just because they already have their they have their group of people that they always send things to by default, and adding any other channels to that or any other people to that just kind of complicates things. They're, they like sticking with who they already know does a great job. I don't blame them for that. It's hard to break that shell. But I will say I've had success with other notable companies. DeepCool was a company that I reached out to personally. About 2 weeks later, I received an email back from one of their marketing leads. And she told me, she's like, hey, do you want the DeepCool genome case? What color would you like? She said, we'll send you a power supply too, and an LED light kit. They were really cool about it. And it has a lot to do with PR. So the only money they're losing, essentially what they're paying for the advertisement on YouTube, is the product they're giving away, or products. So, DeepCool genome's like $250. Power supply $50, LED kit maybe 20. Like, they're only spending maybe $350 for a potential audience of well over 100,000 people. So that's a chance they're willing to take, especially with YouTube channels that they see have been growing quite fast lately. And at the time, I think I had 60 or 70,000 subs, and we were gaining about 10 to 20,000 subs a month. I mean, it was growing. We're still doing that. We're still on that track now, which is phenomenal. And I hope it stays that way. That's why I don't change the format of my videos, because I know that's what most of you want to see. As long as I keep putting out content you like, hopefully the channel will continue to grow. So that's why I've been sticking mainly with technology, but I keep the name Science Studio because I don't just do technology, and I hope someday I'll be able to kind of transition to the point where I can do both freely. But that's a whole nother video. So DeepCool was a company that I reached out to that responded, that was very positive about it. Anities, if you guys remember the Anities AI Crystal review and the build that I did with that, again, I don't know which side, but it'll be in one of these sides here. Click that card. The Anities AI Crystal, that's a beautiful tempered glass case. I reached out to them. I actually saw that case on Newegg, And at the time it was like $120. I was like, I actually want that case for a computer build. I was like, well, let me try my luck and see if they'll just be willing to send me one, because I'll tell them the parts I'm going to include in it, what I plan to do with it. I'll make it look good for them. And I sent the email out literally the next day. They said, sure, we'll send you one. And in fact, a couple weeks after that, after the couple videos had been released, and they noticed that it got quite a lot of attention compared to, I guess, what they expected. I mean, the video had maybe 40,000 views within the first couple days. So I think they appreciated that fact. 2 weeks later, I asked them for another AI crystal. They were happy to send another one. So once you do get a product from a company to review or showcase or do whatever with, again, it's going to be contractual, whatever you talk about in your emails, make sure to stick to those guidelines. And now this is where the roads diverge when it comes to companies giving you products to review. You could choose to be either truthful or a kiss ass. Okay, there's no other way to say it. You can either kiss ass and hope the company appreciates the fact that you do and ends up sending you more and more stuff until the point where you become a clone for the company, or you can tell the truth and hope your viewers appreciate the fact that you are telling the truth even when the truth hurts for the company in question. Now, I'm not going to sugarcoat anything here and tell you that when you tell the brutal truth, it's just going to work out for you perfectly. Companies are going to hate hearing that, okay? Especially when they know that you're fairly big and that you reach a wide audience, and that the audience is going to receive that product in probably the same way you did, and end up not making the company look all that great, at least when it comes to that particular product. And the company's not going to be very happy about that. That's just the truth. No one wants to hear that. No one wants to hear that their product's bad. But that's what it will come down to. And in most cases, the company will be understanding. I'm not going to say they're going to be happy, but they'll at least appreciate the fact that you had the guts to do that, and that you were honest no matter what, and that you were willing to compromise on your relationship with the company for the sake of telling the truth. They always say, tell the truth, tell the truth. It always works out for you in the end. It might not when it comes to the company, but in most cases, your viewers will appreciate it. So coming from Science Studio, coming from me, tell the truth. If you're interested in reviewing products, you need to make this decision before you do anything else. You need to tell yourself, no matter what, you will tell the truth about the product you're reviewing, even if it's let's say it's Intel, all right, and it's a new processor, but the processor is just terrible. I don't know what about the processor would be terrible, but the performance just isn't anywhere close to what you expected, and it was just hyped up, and this and that. So you're disappointed with the CPU. But in the video, all you do is talk about how good the CPU is, right? So now other people are going to go out and buy the CPU based on your word, only to find out that the CPU isn't all that great. I'm using Intel here because Intel, the IPC change from Haswell to Skylake really wasn't all that impressive. So I'm hoping that Kaby Lake is. I'm just hoping that it is. But just use Intel as an example here. So people are going to find out that what you told them basically wasn't true. They're going to come back to you and say, Greg, that was a lie. Why did you lie? You're dishonest. And they're going to unsubscribe to you, and then you're going to lose your viewer base. And then as a result of losing your viewer base, you're going to lose your company sponsorships. So by doing the untruthful thing, you lose both your audience and your companies that back you up. But by telling the truth, all you potentially lose is the company. So keep that in mind. The goal here is to never give up and never compromise on video quality, on your review standards. Keep all of that intact, especially if you've received good feedback from your audience and from the companies in question. It's always a great feeling when you have both company and viewer-based support. It really is nice, because as someone in my position, I have a lot of companies that want to send me stuff, but I can't take everything. I can't use everything. Some things I just frankly don't want. But at the same time, I don't want to flood my audience with a bunch of stuff that I know they really don't care about. So computer builds is a big thing for us, right? We appreciate computer builds. So whenever it's something like RAM, G.Skill just got on board. I reviewed their keyboard and mouse. They liked the review, even though it's a bit critical of a few things. They appreciated it. And they said, hey, by the way, if you want any memory for any PC, let us know and we'll send it to you. So G.Skill's on board, right? So if I want to build a computer, I'll go to G.Skill and I'll say, hey, can you send some of your Trident Z RAM, maybe four DIMMs with 4 gigs each for 16 total? And hopefully they'd say yes, and then I would feature all of the parts I obtained from companies plus stuff I have to buy out of pocket in the build, and just say, look, all these things are running great, or talk about things that I was disappointed with, and just keep that relationship going, because your audience is going to appreciate the fact that you told the truth, and the companies are going to appreciate the fact that you even showcased the product in the first place, or were even willing to accept their products, but then that you were truthful and provided constructive criticism in the process. So that's essentially what I wanted to talk about in this video, just discuss the things that I've been through personally with regards to other companies and receiving products for free or either by condition or something like that. Now, straight up sponsored videos are a totally different topic, and I'm very wary of doing that. I've done one. I've only done one sponsored video. That was that Be Candid video. And honestly, I mean, it was a pretty compelling offer. I didn't think that the app had nothing to do with science. I thought it could have been, I thought it could be, and I think it still is actually, a good way for a lot of people to communicate with each other, ask questions about PC builds, any kind of tech questions that they have. I thought it was a pretty good medium for that, and that's why I was willing to promote it. But had it been something like, again, gardening tools, there's no way. I mean, they could have offered me 20 grand. There's no way I would have accepted the $20,000 for the sake of showcasing gardening tools on Science Studio. There's no way. You have to be willing to make those compromises for the sake of keeping your audience happy, because your audience is what ultimately makes you money. It's what keeps the companies around as well. So keep your audience first, and the companies will have a reason to stick around as long as your videos maintain said standard. This is Science Studio. Be sure to ask questions and other things in the comments. I'll do my best to answer as many as possible, and I'm sure other people who are kind of familiar with this topic can help you out as well. Thanks for learning with us.